I'm sometimes asking myself why I like pinball. I know that I always like things that emit light and flashing objects. I remember playing many pinball games of any kind. Pinball tables about Kiss Rock Band, Austin Power, Duke Nukem, pinball games like Microsoft Pinball Arcade, or the free one you get with Windows called Space Cadet. You probably know this one. The game that started my taste for the pinball is Epic Pinball, released in '93 for the PC. First, they released the game in floppy disk. 4 pinball tables for 3 floppy disks. I'm sure you want to know who is the DE behind that, the company who made the game. Well, it is Epic Megagames, the one that worked on the Unreal Engine those days, and they renamed themselves only Epic Game. Time go fast, that's for sure. After that, they released a CD version with all the table, plus an extra table. This table is quite we will talk about it later. Engine ready? Let's start. This is gonna be epic. First of all, you get struck by the awesome retro music of the main menu. The menu is pretty interesting too. The UI of the game and fonts looks like a lights panel, but instead of light, it is a separate pixel that light up. It helps a lot to feel retro, and it is just cool to see every of them explode when you have select what you want and hit enter. On the table menu, you have all the 13 tables to select, better to say 10 tables, because we can ignore the last 3 ones. They are just bleh. For each table you have the start option, of course, the option menu and the rules for the tables. In the option you can choose how many balls you want. This is mostly the difficulty setting. Having less ball in a table will just make it more repetitive, since you stay on the beginning, but it will be more challenging. If you know the game, maybe you know that there is a trick to get 1 extra ball, so you get 6 balls instead of 5, by pressing F1. Yeah, I love balls. In the option menu also, you can disable the sound or the music. Change the angle of the table to change the physics a little bit. Each table is 2 screen tall. They are not big, but they need to fit them in the resolution memory. Their graphics are sublime for the time. A weird thing is the resolution. The resolution changes from the menu to the table play. Each tables are playing for the high score and also to the goal. When you advance in the goals, you get more points. Now let's see each table. The first one is Super Android. It is a remake of Android, which was the first version on the floppy disk. They remade it for the CD version, changed the music and added an extra ramp and a ball kicker. Some fans like more the old version music, but seriously, the new one just fit perfectly to the action of this table. In Epic Pinball, each table have a different general feel to them, and they're all different. Super Android is the modern action table with a lot of stuff to do comparing to the other Epic Pinball table. The goal of Super Android is to wake up the Android. At the end, he will look at you with his red eyes. Ooh. The next table is Pot of Gold. This table have an interesting stuff like a triple multi-ball and the infamous sky ramp. Yeah, this ramp is just in the way. You always take it. The goal is to advance in the colored hand. After, we have Excalibur, that feature a lighting all over the place. You need to light up the letters to form Excalibur word. This table is a representation of an old wooden pinball. Music in Excalibur is simply awesome. And by the way, you can spell the word sword at the top. Yeah, sword. Oh, original. Next one, we have Crash and Burn. Crash and Burn is the fast-paced action pinball machine. Do not base your sensation on this video, since the frame rate is not as smooth and agile as in-game. Design-wise, this table have many flippers, and the wheel-shaped scoring at the top is made for keeping the ball around if you are good on your timing. This table represents how well made the level design is in Epic Pinball. Ramps are placed to get the most of your flippers. The Magic Table represents an even older kind of pinball. Pinball from the mid-20th century. This one is even simpler than Excalibur. Scoring in Magic is a pain in the ass. You have to activate the stuff first to score. This hole at the top is really hard to get to activate the red bumpers. The low scoring is part of the table style. There is nothing bad about it. The next table is named Jot of the Jungle, which is a game made by the same company, Epic Games. It's a table for a businessman, kind of. It's made of real material from its universe, not plastic, like all the other. It has a trippy bumper, a trippy black and white effect, and everything is on the top. Now we have a Deep Sea. It's basically a high scoring table with blue balls. Who don't like blue balls? The height table is Enigma. Oh yeah, this table is the one that really get me into Epic Pinball. It is a real acid travel in pinball genre. It's awesome. Epic Megagames want to make a table that cannot exist in reality. Something with no bumper, sinkholes or a ball launcher. Something that can only exist on the PC in a virtual world. So they create Enigma. Enigma is an enigma. The goal is to discover that enigma by completing levels. It is like mixing levels from standard game with pinball. The table will tell you what are the things you need to touch to advance. There is stuff that appear linearly and you have to collect those. Some of the things are there only for points. Other will have effects and other will destroy the ball. I hate those mines and deadly pits. The number of them is as high as the number of balls you have in level 3. The layout is cool. you have a large open area with a labyrinth of ramps on the top of the table, a color change and the speed of the trippy background too, depending of how far you are in the table. Your ball can also have the same color and pattern as the background, which make it even more challenging. The ninth table is Cyborg Girl. This is my favorite table because I love the design of it and the gameplay feature in it. You can crank up the amount of icebreaker. This will decide how much your ball will be icebreak into this ramp right there. You can hit the hug sinkhole that will augment the value of the tens deck. This thing can then change the gravity and the color of the table, which is cool. There is also a way to open a path that leads right into the ball launcher. This and the tens deck disable the random ball heater on each side. You know those two corridors near the flipper where the ball can fall randomly? Then you lost it. So yeah, Cyborg Girl also features what I call techno porn music. Just listen to it. The thing with this table is that the Cyborg Girl art in the middle is kind of distracting. It distracts you from your objective. It takes so much place. Maybe because it's full of colors. Maybe it is her head bent down with her stare pointing to your ball. Her presence in the table is mysterious and exciting at the same time. The last for me is Epanja. This is a dinosaur themed table. Who don't like dinosaur? But I don't really like this table. That's why, because the main reason is everything is attached to a square on the top. It's like a floating square on top with everything of the table is there. And this table is a ball eater. Maybe it's the way I play. You just really lost your ball rapidly on this one. I know that Excalibur is another table where you lost your ball rapidly, but Excalibur is short and simple. This one is just meh. The other three tables have been rushed and are pure shit. The flipper design is different. They are tiny midget flipper. The ball sprite is not even round. Seriously. The ramps are hard to enter. The design of the table is broken. The space between the flipper is too large. And the cherry on cake is the last table. Safari garbage. This must be a reject table. End of the story. It's so shitty. It's broken. It's shit. It's, oh my god. It's ass. As you can see, the table of Epic Pinball are really simple in their design. There is not too much stuff on the screen, but you will do many times the same thing in the table and you will also hit that shit. I don't find it an issue personally, because hitting less stuff for points will make them more valuable. You will be happy when you get an extra ball or changing the gravity, for example. Epic Pinball is really challenging, and I only finished 2 tables in terms of goal, which was Deep Sea and Enigma. It's really hard to do all the goals without cheating. The physics in the game is good. Not too much realistic. The ball will go where you want most of the time, after you've got the hang of it. It feels arcade-ish with some random factor that make it more realistic. Rarely the ball can get into an idle state and you will need to bump the table. But warning for the tilt. Information about the goals are on the screen. You need to pay attention to that. The last tables have their information on the HUD, which I prefer. It doesn't float in the air like the first table. They are like part of the screen which you see in our arcade, a real pinball in real life. Epic Pinball is not clean of glitches. On multi-ball, the sing hole can have a ghost ball stuck in them. Those ghost thingy can make your ball go out of world, which is not really fun at all. For the music and the sound are good for their time. It sounds like pinball stuff on 16 bits. Music is epic. Yeah, I use this word to describe it. Most of the other music in the game are as good as the menu music, especially Crash and Burn, Excalibur, Super Android, and Space Journey. It's sad that Space Journey is utter shit about gameplay, but music is good. Except Magic, which scratch my ears. They all have this retro vibe of mixing pre-recorded sound to them. Back in the time, most music was MIDI, but not the one of Robert. Robert Allen made masterpiece in terms of techno music. Yeah, this game and Jazz Jackrabbit music are fucking awesome. You can even find the same audio sample in those two games. Jazz Jackrabbit music is even more epic. Oh my god, I use the word epic so much. Some music in Epic Pinball are so upbeat and great, it makes the simple pinball epic. The music just makes the game at some point. Graphically, it's classic pixelated DOS game, and when you make it full screen, it's really pixelate. It's ugly, but it's kind of style at the same time. Is the 2D imagery make it larger? Worse the image. Otherwise, at its native resolution, the graphics are colorful and pretty. There is some issue with the pixel at some places, like this dot in the menu, but that's pretty much it. Games run really smooth. For the story, but it's a pinball, so yeah, no story. For the sequel of the game, or the next pinball game they made, it's called Extreme Pinball. There is also a pretty dark game that uses the same engine, which is called a Silver Ball. We don't really know what it is. From overall research, this one is a kind of prototype that paved the way of Epic Pinball. It's just a bunch of tables made before Epic. It was not really good. The balls go through solid objects sometimes. All in all, if you want a pinball game that is not hard to get into, but really challenging, I cannot lie, Epic Pinball is hardcore, but I really recommend it. Even if it's really old